safely in the hands of the French powerhouse.
Turns out for Apan, you don't need to be on that bustling street to be taken out by a vehicle, as that motorbike comes straight through and takes down the tank of VanirQuick. A rough start, but not one that I think will be too unexpected in terms of starting out. Zodiel's looked really strong on this Shion as soon as it's come into being able to be picked, and VQ going to switch things up a little bit with a D.Va composition.
Yeah, I mean, with such a dominant fashion, it was a 30% to 100 for Team PEPS, so you did want to see a little bit of switch up. Tomix off that Kiriko onto that Juno, but typically that would just be for that speed gate initially, and then yeah, straight on back onto that Kiriko. So not really too much of a switch up from either team. Willie's again still on that Malga, so it's just that Malga mirror. It's going to be very, very brutal, very, very rough time to fight into any of these team fights for VanirQuick.
Yeah, and especially with the mowing down of Rav on that Bastion as well, it's going to be difficult. Charge up to the high ground for Apan, but already chunked down so low off the initial engage from Willies. It's just too much damage. Trying to get out of there, it's not going to be the case. You've got some shots from the back in the form of Kale, but Rav deals with that as well, and it's going to be an easy capture here on the second point for Team PEPS.
Yeah, it's just so much damage onto Central Apan. That Bastion, as you mentioned, and the Malga from Team PEPS as well. It's just way too much to try and keep alive. And you can't stay in an extended fight for too long. Even if you've got both supports kind of pocketing you and carrying you the entire time, it is just so much damage focused onto that one target. And it just gets really, really rough. Team PEPS are in such, a brutal position opposing VanirQuick.
Yeah, absolutely. Speak about brutal, but 1-for-1 trade from Elias. Both Kiriko's now out of the fight. The sustain's not going to be there. The stick onto the Malga's pretty good, and taking down Zodiel as well. Elias really clutching up in this fight. If they can find FD, God, they have this here. And the 2 DPS of VanirQuick taking over to make sure that they can bring the capture point into their hands.
Yeah, a lot earlier of a recapture than that first point, so it's a lot better of a showing already into that second point. And Elias, as you say it there, really bring the favors back into VanirQuick hands. Could be great. I think there is already good showings from VanirQuick here. It's a best of 5, so we do have a few more maps to go, of course. So I do actually favor VanirQuick's chances here. They do look a lot stronger than they did way back when they faced Team PEPS in the original in the regular season.
Bastion turn just decimates Tomex in the backline. They do have the Kitsune Rush still to work with, but the rest of the team isn't going to have the sustain to hold on to this fight. Cage fight invested as well from both Malgas. So both Kitsunes and both Cages invested in that fight, and Team PEPS come out on top.
Yeah, I think a fight like that, when you've got both kit rushes, you're going to favor Team PEPS there 100%. You've got that Malga, you've got that Bastion. Both those characters just absolutely feed off the speed that the kit rush provides. And on top of that, it's just not enough. Initially, you're not going to have enough anyways from VanirQuick, but add that kit rush in, it's so much worse.
Oh, that's an absolute decimation from Zoro, taking down Zodiel with the spree, scouting out that player hiding round the corner, and now trying to advance up to the high ground. Elias has to take a quick breath, but where one DPS goes away, the other one comes straight back. Now here comes the spree coming back into the fight for Zodiel. Forces the recall from Elias. Pulse bomb in onto Rav is perfect, but they've lost Apan again. It's just too much damage to deal with. The beat was a bit late from Kale as well, and Zodiel's going to take down Zoro in revenge for the last fight. Kale and Elias are still fighting on the objective here. Recall for Elias is good. Holding on to the point for now, though, is Team PEPS. They managed to stay alive long enough for Apan to come back, and with Zodiel down, that should be captured back into the hands of VQ.
Yeah, great individuals from VQ. Even though they're down Central Apan, you're down your only tank, you're down such a key player in any of these team fights, you still end up winning that fight, taking that point back into your own hands. And I mean, it's a really great showing from VQ. We have that kit rush coming up as well, so it's actually really looking quite favorable into the next few fights.
Here comes the artillery from Rav. Gonna find anything initially, and they don't get anything off the back of it. Both Kitsune rushes now on the board, and both of them invested off the rip. Not gonna help Apan, though, immediately taken down as Willis claims 2. A third on the fight for the Malga, and that looks like it's all said and done for Oasis. a valiant battle for VQ, definitely closer than this map was the first time these two played each other this season, but the prowess is showing for Team PEPS, and they are showing exactly why they have remained undefeated, not just in games, but in maps as well, over the course of their stint in EMEA Masters FACEIT.
Yeah, of course, I mean, this is a team with a lot of pedigree about it. It is a very strong team, even into OWCS as well. So, you know, you are, of course, going to favor Team PEPS into this, but I don't think at all that that was a bad showing from VQ. I mean, bringing it up to almost 80% for the side of VQ onto that second point onto Oasis, it's really not... it's not disastrous. It's not a terrible result, and I think that it's a very, you know, confident showing to go into, you know, further maps, potentially further series, you know, later down the line. And VQ are looking like a team that can actually contend against teams such as Team PEPS.
Yeah, definitely. They were able to hold their own. Elias on the Tracer, actually, looking really, really good. Great. And that's what you need when you sacrifice that damage, that raw damage output that the Cat Bastion's giving to Team PEPS. You need your Tracer to find those individual picks, and that was what was happening over the course of Gardens. Unfortunately, we didn't see quite as much of City Center as we would have wanted to, but at the end of the day, Team PEPS do come through it, and they are playing with that chip on their shoulder that they have had ever since the relegation, and ever since they have been made fun of for being that partnered team that's gone down to the FACEIT leagues instead of staying in OWCS. But you can see how much it means to these players, and immediately they're coming out firing, especially Willie's on that Malga with the help of the Bastion. It's just so much damage that VanirQuick just didn't seem like they could hang with.
Yeah, it is just so much brutal damage into the face of it all. You know, you're facing into 3 Gatling guns, you know, a gun in each hand and a smile on his face. Malga, it's just too much damage to deal with. And the Cat Bastion as well, of course, allows that great repositioning onto Bastion. It turns Bastion into, you know, a really, really stupid character to deal with. And it is rough. And as you said before, it does show that Team PEPS, this matters to them. They want to get back into that OWCS. They're a partner team that got knocked down into FACEIT League, which, of course, you know, led to, you know, a bit of jokes being made. However, they're still a great team. They're still an exceptional team, and one that deserves to be back into OWCS. But I mean, VanirQuick in the meantime is all showing exactly why they deserve a chance at it all as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And 2 teams are going to progress. Just the win today, make sure you confirm it without having to go through that lower bracket final. So VanirQuick go to the old faithful King's Row. Something we've seen countless times before, but maybe VanirQuick looking for a better story than the ones that have been told in the past. You do have Sigma probably coming back into the pool as we go towards the hero band. It's going to be Farah band out on King's Row for VanirQuick, and that's not too much of a surprise with how I believe Zodiel was played on the character previously. Mitsuki band on the other side is going to take down the secondary part of that Sig Mitsuki combination, and if they want to play the Cat Bastion, that still allows Team PEPS to, but you're probably still looking to more of a Lucio type of consideration for a map like King's Row that is so heavily based around the brawl.
Yeah, almost always the Lucio is going to be brought out onto King's Row, and as you said, that there's the Cat from Kale on the side of VQ, and then the side of Cat, or the Cat on the side of Team PEPS as well. So quite typical that we see Exodio getting absolutely pressured by Central Apan, so weak, but is carried by his team.
Yeah, Brav's gonna be doing a lot of work with these Maywalls as well, but a first pick is gonna be in the hands of VQ as Zoro takes down FD God, and that should be an opening to get back in here. Zodiel lurking in the shadows, Zerion peeking as well from the hotel. Yes, you lose your Cat, but you gain 2 in return, and that should be enough for VQ to take advantage and take this point as Rav falls as well. The rest of the team just staggering out. Willis is going to try and do as much as possible to hold this objective. Can't get into the hands of FD God. A beautiful first take for VQ, as they should be able to advance past this opening choke of Streets phase as well and take this archway.
Yeah, great quick attack from VQ, getting pressure onto Exodio on that Emery on the top side, just allowed so much more space for VanirQuick, and early picks from the side of Zoro as well. just provided so much value. And 5 minutes to capture streets and go into that foundry. VQ looking very, very strong onto that attack side Kings Row.
The ult charge as well is a battle that VanirQuick are winning. I mean, you look at the Gravitic Flux already being online, and if you can invest that early, that should really be a telling piece of utility for them to be able to use. They do get a few in. The Suzu's big, but the kill onto Rav is bigger. Now in the 5v4, they look to press forwards. Bit of a wayward Blizzard there from Elias, but they're still taking space off the back of it, and they force them all the way back into the underworld here. Team PEPS fighting to make sure that they don't lose too much ground, as Willis is just going to hide back around the corner, and you should have Rav back in now. Both Kitsune's on the board, but Zoro is a fair bit closer to that overclock than Zodio is on the other side, trying to stay alive now. Kitsune Rush is invested by both teams. The Blizzard is there as well from Rav, but no freezes off the back of it and no confirmed kills off the back of it either. The Maywall to try and isolate, but it's going to be Rav that gets taken down. The catnap invested from FD God as well. Doesn't find anything. Elias is going to eventually fall to the annihilation of Willis, and you're going to look to Tomex as the next victim, but no good accretion to make sure that Willis can't follow up onto that second kill. Now the overclock is in the hands of Zoro, with Exodial still about 20% away. They back up for the moment, trying to reset, trying to make sure that everything is here. But here comes the Sky Clock from Zoro, trying to find an opening pick off the back of it. Can't find anything so far, but still a target-rich environment for the Sojourn, with FD God peeking as well. It's tough, but no fight winning pick off the back of it. FD God still lurking in the backline, as once more there's a lot of pressure onto this team. And now with the overclock coming back in from Zodial, the last of these ults to be used in this turn, it looks like VQ are just going to back away and wait for that Gravitic Flux to come back in. And here it is, and they're going immediately once again. They're able to force that Cryo Freeze. Zodial's down low, up back to the higher ground. Tomek's going down low as well. They've got to be careful with this Nemesis form, but they found FD God in the process. And this team fight, though it's gone on for ages, it's still looking like it's going to be in the favor of VanirQuick. They've seen every single ult come out from both teams. Zoro finds Willis, and with the kill onto the tank, they've fought through the war on this second objective, and they've taken it, it looks like.
Absolutely. What a long and grueling team fight, but on top of it all, VanirQuick come out winning it. I mean, what a long fight. FD God, in the face of all, just lurking in those shadows, lurking so far. It just takes away that focus of Zoro. Zoro has to try and find that pick onto FD God and couldn't find it in the end, which just made the fight so drawn out. But eventually Tomex was able to find that kunai onto the cat, which was the catalyst that allowed VanirQuick to eventually win out on that long and drawn out fight.
An unmirrored kit rush coming into this fight as well should be a boon for VanirQuick. As you can see, FD God lurking underneath, wanting to drag someone to the depths with that catnap, but they go early and they try and make the most of this Kitsune rush. FD God is going to pick up Zoro, so that should be a confirmed kill, but Kale's found one in the meantime onto Rav, so still in the 4v4. Of course, the spawn advantage is going to favor Team PEPS in this current situation. Afan trying to do a lot on this Sigma. As you can see, Willis has switched over to try and mirror it. And Elias is going to try and wall off, make sure that you can do as much as possible, just to make sure that you can get back with the rest of the team. Zoro should be back now, so going in for this next engage. Blizzard in for Elias. Both overclocks popped as well. Neither team finding a kill off the back of them yet, but it's now turned into a shooting gallery with that Gravitic Flux. And it's a beautiful Blizzard to take down both of the DPS. Now the Kitsune Rush is forced, but Willis has fallen. And FD God, while you've gotten one, it feels like it's everything coming up for VanirQuick right now. They take all three on their attacking side. And going into the defense, they should be absolutely proud of what's happening. They are isolating Rav on this May, and it feels like things are turning into their favor, and this could be the first map that Team PEPS lose this entire tournament.
This would be absolutely substantial if VanirQuick can win out this map. I mean, look at the scoreboard. Team PEPS has not been able to find anything. VanirQuick Central Apan and Tomex both not going down a single time. I mean, the care from Tomex has been immense, and the value in picks that Tomex has found as well has been one to, absolutely say your praises, sing your praises to him, because it's just been so good. Central Apan not going down at all. In a 16-0 showing against Team Peps, I mean, it's incredible so far. And 2 minutes 19 on the clock, if this goes into OT, is such a good time bank. And I mean, the way that Central Apan has been playing, and so is Tomex, and the rest of VanirQuick as well, I think the defense could be really great as well.
Absolutely. The consistency's been there in those team fights, and I mean, they didn't really lose one. They backed out of a couple of fights on second just to clear the path back, but the only real time that they seemed like they were losing a team fight is when they just had to go back and wait for Zoro to respawn on third. But looks like it's going to be the Widow Peak immediately from Zodial, looking for a headshot and then probably going back in. Besides that, not really too much change from Team Peps as we lose Zerion from the game initially. But what an attacking side from VQ just as we wait to head back into the game.
Yeah, it's so exciting to watch. I mean, off the gate, straight away, a very quick capture onto that first point from VQ. A great set of plays coming out on that, but Streets was a little bit more rough, took a bit more time, but still, as you said, it didn't really feel like they ever lost a fight. Fights got a little bit disadvantaged or a bit drawn out, but if it really got to that bad of a stage, they would just back away and they'd play that little bit of space, give up a little bit of space, play that respect, and then go straight back into it when you're back up to full strength. So there's never a fight that really was lost for VanirQuick the entire time. They just felt so in control of that attack side, and it's just great plays from absolutely every individual on the side of VQ. And I mean, you really have to sing your praises to the entire team for that.
For sure. And coming into it, Elias looks so much more comfortable on the Mei than Rav has done, and that speaks to the Pharah ban as well, as Rav's not been able to go to that. There's something to find there, as Team Peps initially threatening that Cat Bastion, but decide against it. Going back over to the Sojourn, Zoro is not going to mirror it, going over to the M-Ray for this defensive side, which is something we saw from Zodial as well, just maybe a little bit better for holding this first objective, but both teams not really finding too much of a pick so far as well. It's just threatening this high ground, same thing that we saw on the other side as well, but I believe a pick was already found by this point for VanirQuick, as Apan just backing up, allowing the space, but making sure that it's not too overcrowded up there as the capture starts. Zodial down to 40. Very close to going down to that grenade, but there comes the first pick. Kale's gone down to Zerion, and in the 4v5, this should be Team Peps' fight to lose. The second cleaned up by Zodial, and Central Apan is just going to have to go to the objective. One pick onto Zodial was pretty good, but it shouldn't matter too much in the long run as the rest of the team falls down. Is going to be up to Zoro to try and die on the point if he can, or else it's going to be a massive stagger. And that should be Archway taken completely, especially with Willis taking so much space off the back of the Cat with FD God there.
Yeah, I mean, it was good to get Exodial out of the fight, but Central Apan went down just before that as well. And once that's happened, I feel like, especially with a team like Team Peps, there's no way that you're going to win that fight. And as the case of, that we saw, it was indeed not as much time as VanirQuick had to begin with, but it's still a very healthy amount for the side of Team Peps. They have both support ults. They've got the Gravitic Flux in the back pocket as well. VQ have nothing. Gravitic Flux is nearly there, but other than that, that's it. So Team Peps 100% favored in this next fight.
There goes the Kitsune Rush. It's a perfect Suzu to save Apan immediately, and the Flux goes wide from Willis initially. Doesn't find the accretion either, and Rav's gone down to Zoro.
Oh my.
A couple of quick kills from the DPS where it looked like the favor was in Team Peps' hands. It's turned the other way, and Apan cleaning up the 3 for the team kill.
I think we need to have a conversation that Central Apan might be the best player in the world. I can't lie. I mean, it's actually beautiful. I mean, as I said, Team Peps had, it felt like every advantage into that fight. 3 ults used. VanirQuick only used 2. They used that Blizzard. They used that Gravitic Flux in response, and they somehow won it out. I mean, it's a beautiful trade-off for VQ, and it's such a great showing on the defense already.
They have both support ults coming in here, and that protocol that's just been popped for Zoro, looking to try and find something. Gonna have to back away from the overclock from Zodial as Rest of the team trying to advance forward. Zodial's going to get the care from both supports as here comes that kit rush, trying to aggress forwards as much as possible. The Blizzard's going to zone it out. The Cryo Freeze is going to make sure that Elias isn't taken down by it, but Apan is able to convert onto Willis with the use of that catnap from Kale, and that should be the fight all said and done, especially with that grenade from Zoro. And once again, VQ looking strong in these fights.
Exceptional. I mean, it's a great stagger as well at the end there onto Rav. VQ kind of low on that ult bank, 72% onto that Gravitic Flux, but so is Team Peps. The only thing that they're close to is that catnap, 83%. So it's just kind of back to the basics fight here, unless they can, you know, draw it out, build up that ult charge before having another big fight. But unsure whether or not Team Peps will look to just overrun and fight into a zero ult fight as Exodial's on a great angle here to pressure the backline of VQ.
It's a good scout, though, from Kale to make sure that that angle can't be taken freely. And Zoro going to rotate up to the high ground as well. As it's just a neutral fight at the moment. FD Gold with the catnap is going to be able to invest it this fight. But Apan with that flux, and we saw how much that did last time, should be able to fight forwards again. It's a better flux here from Willis than we saw in the first flux fight. The catnap is very good as Willis is able to take down Elias. And with Apan being brought into the clutches of Team Peps, that's a fight over. 2 minutes left on the clock and potentially a touch here for VQ. As that cart should just about make it through. Maybe not quite all the way. It's going to be a scrambled touch here from VQ.
Yeah, Team Peps have to use every ult in that fight. Every ult they had in the bank had to be expended there. VanirQuick didn't use anything. So it does look really great for VQ, especially if they can touch here. But Exodio shuts down that touch from Central Apan as Raph finds a second.
Yeah, and this is going to be a lot of space taken into third as well. So time bank should reset in just a moment. 1.5 minutes up to 3 in a clean team fight win for Team Peps. They did have to invest that overclock, which, considering how the fight went and how scrambled it was, I'm not sure they would have desperately needed to, but they have the space now on third as they look to press forwards through Foundry. Willis making sure to keep the space early as Apan's trying to progress forwards now. Tomix has that kit rush in the back pocket as well. And a lot of ultimates in the back pocket as well for VQ. Elias trying to do so much damage onto Willis, but it's all going to be healed up by that time. Blizzard invested there from Rav, but not really going to find anything here as the Kitsune rush is invested from Tomix. Trying to find Rav here, has to go into the Cryo Freeze. It's going to be difficult to get out of that situation as the kills come in for VanirQuick. 2 quick ones found, and the rest should go down there, and everything is so clean. They find everything with a team kill, all 5 surviving. It's only a flux in the back pocket for Team Peps.
Yeah, VanirQuick close to that Gravitic Flux as well. They have that Blizzard and the Catnap too. Somewhat close to that overclock. Much better than Exodio, of course, but Tallmex is the only one really on the lowest side of that ult, 23% for that kit rush. However, can be built very quickly. Gravitic Flux now in to play with Willis. Might not be too valuable.
Yeah, especially not with the Suzu there from Tomex to make sure the damage was mitigated, but sounds so low. Is Apan going to invest the Flux back the other way, try and find something, as the Blizzard is also put in by Elias. Can you find a freeze? Yes, you can. Rav just about out of the Cryo Freeze, gets frozen in a different way, but Zodial's found one. Traded immediately by Zoro, but taken out. Maybe just taking too much space there. Elias now trying to cut off Zodial down so low.
Oh, nice.
Doesn't survive. Apan's able to trade that out. And now as we get to less than a minute on the clock, can Team Peps force this through with a lack of ultimates coming their way soon?
Yeah, only close to that overclock, but Zoro's already got it. Switch from Willis onto that Hazard, playing for more aggression, playing for that dive, potentially trying to press that backline. It's been so strong for VanirQuick. It's a good switch, I do like it, but need to see if... It's a beautiful rock from Central Apan to shut out that slash.
Great accretion early, and now with 30 seconds left, Zoro pops the overclock. They're going to wait for their turn. Our Team Peps, it's going to be one fight to take it all as Apan goes down low. Maybe just fighting too far forwards, but bailed out of it by the supports. Once again, doing exactly what they need to in this fight. Overclock invested by Zodial gets Central Apan down low once again, but they're able to survive. And yeah, exactly. Here comes the kit rush from Tomex. onto the objective. Willis is going to fight straight into it, but the increase is perfect, and the follow-up is even better. Elias comes through with 2 quick kills. Kale's able to find his third, and this is going to be the fall of the perfect season. Team Peps lose their first map in FACEIT Masters, and VanirQuick, now that they have their Sigma back from it being banned on that first map, looks so strong on this composition.
It looked so great, and just as Zoro says, history has been made. And Central Apan took exactly what I was going to say. They can bleed. Gods do indeed bleed. Is Team Peps lose their first map to VQ. Yeah!
And that's absolutely going to be some confidence for the rest of
so
much. You know, you've taken a map off of Team Peps, and as the rest of that phrase goes, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Exactly.
And the fact that they now have this Sigma back for the rest of this entire series looks very good for them. Apan looks incredible on it. It's a
So
really, really good meta for them in terms of what they're facing on the other side. That Sigma's so dominant, the accretions were perfect. I mean, we saw it in that final fight. That face in from Willis on the hazard, trying to get something done in the Kitsune rush, and just gets backhanded by the accretion from Central Apan. As soon as you try and do something, he's there to shut it down, and even in the Sig Mirror, it was absolutely perfect. And I mean, they gave up a bit of ground, but they didn't fall back as far as it could have been, and now we can see perfectly VanirQuick has won King's Row. It now goes to Team Peps, and they're gonna have to pick a map midway through a series.
This is the first time that's ever happened. Yeah, the first time that Team Peps has had to pick a map because they lost it. And of course it's VanirQuick to be the ones to show that Team Peps are a beatable team. And it looked great. It didn't look, you know, worrisome at all. It didn't look, I mean, of course on the defensive side for VanirQuick, it did look a little bit, you know, more tiresome. But the attack side for VQ was great. The defensive side as well was just as good. It was obviously, you know, Team Peps, great team. Of course, their attack's going to be great as well. But, I mean, VQ to win that out, it looked exceptional. Of course, Central Apan, on terms of that, Sigma looked incredible too. But VQ as a whole, really, really spectacularly done. But Circuit Royale pick from Team Peps, a bit more of a pokey map.
Yeah, and that's going to play into the hands of the Sigma once again, surely.
Yeah.
I mean, the best tank currently in this meta goes in as the best poke tank from the fact that he is a poke tank. And he is the best tank in the game. What more can be said? The Mitsuki's going to be there if they want it as well, but honestly, the way that they played with that cat was enough for me to justify it continuing on this map, and I don't think there's too many changes that I'd look to change here. It is going to be a bit more open Circuit Royale. There's not as many places to hide, so maybe you do want to go over to that Mitsuki for more coverage and to try and slow down the opposing team. Maybe try and catch Willis off guard with a couple of chains, but initially it feels like that plays into that Sig Mitsuki composition that VanirQuick have been threatening so far, and they've not been allowed to play because of the bans.
Yeah, as you said, exactly. It does kind of feed into VQ's hands perfectly there, and I do agree that the cat looked great enough to allow it to continue, even though that the Mizuki is back into the fray and you know, perfect option for that Sig frontline. So, but I do agree that the cat should remain to stay. But I mean, yeah, I mean, Team Peps, I think maybe just very confident on the fact that they are a better team. They can just outplay it. I mean, okay, cat's gone, so I guess it does just go straight back to Mizuki. The cat isn't even in the fray, so we can't even play the cat even if we wanted to. So just back to that Mizuki, I'd assume. However, Team Peps probably just being a confident team and saying that Circle Royale is a good map for them. It doesn't matter how good VQ are. Team Peps feel better, but I mean, they just lost a map, so you know, who can say that for certain?
Right comes before the fall, you've got to be careful, and I assume that those are flipped. So I assume that the May ban is from Team Peps, considering how well Elias did on that last map, and the Jetpack Cat ban immediately, in terms of how well FD God played on that map as well for Team Peps, was a shining light in the darkness for them on that map, and several of those fights that they either won or came close to winning came off the back of a catnap or something similar, some aggressive play from FD God. But coming into this map, even without the Mei, I still like what VanirQuick are going to be able to come into this with. Elias has been on fire both maps. The Tracer was the shining light on Oasis, and that Mei, we saw how well it went against Rav on the other side.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely perfect.
It was very, very strong. Elias into that Pharah. I do enjoy that. A defensive side, Central Apan, not on the Sigma though, on the Ramatra instead. Which I do respect. Willis, on the other hand, is repping that Sigma for that attack side.
Zodiel looking for a quick shot on the Widow, has the target, but goes wide initially as the rest of the team is going to hold up towards this bridge, leaving Apan slightly on an island, but don't have to worry about the Mei wall in this situation. Willis switching over to the Diva as well, looking to put a lot of pressure in, looking to dive onto that backline as the TP comes through onto the bridge initially from Rav, as Central Apan just looking to make sure that it doesn't get taken down early, being chunked there by Rav on that Symmetra, but able to survive, able to back around the corner, and there's going to be a lot of healing going to be able to be invested from VanirQuick with this backline that they are playing with, but it's not going to be enough to save Zoro. Early doors, that's a first pick for Team Peps, and they look to progress off the back of it as well. Willis is hard into this backline, making sure that Elias can't do anything, and that means that the rest of the team is free to deal with Apan. Kale going down, Tomex falling on the cart. That is a very good first fight for Team Peps.
Yeah, the TP was superb. Completely cuts off Central Apan from the rest of his team. Has to just, take that block, just keep blocking all the way up as you back up, and it's a great way just to completely cut that off. It denies Central Apan from doing any damage, just has to kite it, sit in that block, kite it, and it's so much space that you can take, and as we see, it completely capture that first point off the back of it all, and it's a very great starting for Team Peps in the attack.
Yeah, not only did they gain the space early, they were able to make a massive amount of use of it as Elias switches over to the Shion. It's going to be a Kitsune rush on the board for both sides in just a second, but Zodiel so much closer to this override protocol, immediately lets rip. As soon as it goes, Willis is able to find Kale off the back of it, but likes to straight it out onto Rav, and maybe Zodiel getting a bit too overconfident. Taken down by Zoro. Willis is still in this backline, being an absolute menace, and there's no supports on the board at the moment for VanirQuick, so they're going to have to deal with Elias sooner rather than later. Did they get that mech down? I don't think they were able to. In fact, eventually, yes, they did. That Nemesis form coming in clutch, and that's going to be a little while before there's a real threat here of a second capture by Team Peps, but they've been able to get back into the mech, and now Willis diving in once more. Apan coming up on that Annihilation, but not on the board just yet. TP up to the high ground with that Kitsune rush is devastating, and Kale has nowhere to go. The rest of the team following up on it. A lot of damage should be able to come through, but it's immediately shut down by Zodiel switching over to that Sojourn, and once again, Team Peps look very strong off the back of these Rav TPs.
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that. The Rav TPs are looking exceptional. They cut off so much of VanirQuick space, isolate and destroy, and it's just been so difficult to deal with, as once that TP comes through, the pick is found so quick and puts VanirQuick at that disadvantage. And I mean, Zodiel's aim as well has just been absolutely stunning to shut out that protocol overrides immediately.
TP invested to get Willis into the backline. Kale is going to invest the raid, matched by FD God, as Apan just can't really do anything but hold block, but decides now is the go button. Rav taken down, and this should be a follow-up onto Willis. No, gets away, but in the 4v5, they're just going to have to back up Team Peps. Elias almost at that spree as well, and a good at least force off the cart for now from VanirQuick.
Yeah, buys a little bit of time. Of course, no real picks found, but of course, it's time to whittle down. Is that what you need? As the spree goes into the backline, potentially finding any picks here. Is it's very weak onto FD. God eventually found Thomas in the meantime, was able to get down. Zarion, Exodio trades back though. Zoro goes down. Essential Apan finds another. Willis trading back again. Thomas out of the fray as it's a potential backhand from Zodio, but pressured now by Central Apan and shut out eventually. It's just Willis. trying to 1v1 that Xion, has to use that self-destruct to remake very quickly, and Team Peps again still at a bit of a disadvantage on the back foot. 2 minutes on the clock, still very close to that second checkpoint, so it's not all bad news for Team Peps.
The bad news is that Amalga's just walked out of spawn though, and that's going to be very difficult for them to deal with the current composition that they're playing. They'll see it now, they know what they're facing, but it's so tough to play into this on the other side. Rav going over to the Tracer as well is going to put a lot of pressure in onto the backline, make sure that they can't stay too far away from at least one player. Oh, Overclock invested immediately as Kale almost immediately taken down. Rav's going to take that every day of the week. Elias has been able to trade out, but does fall, and now the rest of the team's just going to try and stall out the cart for as long as possible. A lot of time taken off the board, considering the Team Peps came into the second objective with 5 minutes, but that should be them taking the full extent of the second objective into their hands. We see VanirQuick switch over to a D.Va composition to try and match what's on the other side.
Yeah, there has to be a bit of a switch up. It was looking very rough. I mean, it was a great play, though. I mean, Exodial sliding up and getting a very weak target in the face of Kale, and then it was Rav to follow up on that Tracer to shut out that low HP target. It's a great bit of communication. It's a great bit of set play from Team Peps, as you'd expect from a team such as them. But, I mean, a kit rush on the side of Team Peps, very favorable. Very, very favorable.
Rav now on the Vendetta. Overclock immediately onto Rav, and no time to live up there as Zerion's taken down by Elias as well. This should be the fight won, even with the investment of the Kitsune Rush. Zoro's bleeding out slowly, but the fire's going to be put out by Tomex. And
beautiful. That
beautiful first shot as Rav tried to get into the backline really shut that attack down.
Yeah, I mean, even through the block, so much damage onto Rav, could not do anything about that. It was a great play from VanirQuick, and a minute 30, only just into the second point as well. So, again, this map looks very, very winnable for VanirQuick, which would put them at the advantage if they do win this.
It's trying to get up to the high ground, has to back away for now, but the Orbital Ray investment from FD God as Cage fight now online for Willis as well. Could be an absolute game changer. Only thing on the board though for Team Peps at the moment. Zoro's going to try and back away here as the Kitsune Rush comes in, and immediately Zoro takes down one but gets beheaded by Zodial on the other side. The opposite number takes him down as they've been able to destroy this cage fight, and Kale takes out Rav. A stick from Willis, but Central Apan's going to fall down. Eventually it is a trade of the two tanks as Kale's been putting up numbers in this fight on the Lucio. They're still giving up the space, knowing that they can't contest without Apan here, as the D-Mech is going to be on the board for Apan. That bomb to invest if needed. Now Zodial building up to another overclock. That's the next thing coming up on the board for Team Peps as they look to round this corner. It's been a difficult situation so far, and only 30 seconds left on the clock. 2 ults on the board for VQ with that beat in tow as well. Rav could take something with that Sundering Blade, but they go early with that beat to try and counter out Zodial's damage. And Tomex immediately finds Zerion. That's a couple of quick kills from VanirQuick, and that should be everything that they need to take this defensive side and make sure that it's not all 3 that fall into the hands of Team Peps after a very good start from them on the other side. The stall's there, but eventually those players do fall down, and once more isn't a full 3 that can be taken by Team Peps. They weathered the storm there, VanirQuick, after a blistering start, and eventually they do hold their own and make sure that the hotel is as far as Team Peps get.
Yeah, which makes this game very realistically winnable. There's no OT, there's no potential for that draw. It's either win or lose. And I mean, the way that they dug their heels in towards that end there was stunning. It took a little bit of time to clear out those last 2 members of Team Peps at the end. Got a little bit worrisome potential touch then if the stall was any longer, but cleaned it up towards the tail end of it all and shut it out, which obviously, you know, puts it at the 2 checkpoint mark. And now the game is super winnable. VanirQuick, we saw obviously such a strong attack on that King's Row map. Can they pull out the same sort of attack that they did then and potentially bring this to a 2-1 lead for VanirQuick?
Rav's going to try and play 4D chess here with the teleporters once more, going over to Symmetra. It's not going to be mirrored by Elias going over to the Shion instead. Both backlines going to be the same, and Zoro's going to do exactly what Zodial tried to in that first peak with the Widowmaker.
Ideally, finding a pick unlike Zodial. But who knows whether that will be the case. Hopefully it is. But VanirQuick had a very great advantage into that start of the map. But no Symmetra TP out for VanirQuick like Team PEPS did on their attack side. But no pick found so far from Zoro. Just walking out of that main door, trying to find anything. But shot taken. There's the switch.
That shield never saw it coming, but Zoro switches back over to the Sojun for the push around the first corner. Now, they know that they can't advance as quickly as the other side did to them, but the teleports are immediately invested from Rav. Means they can't get away from this Nemesis form that Central Apan has invested. You take the first corner. It's a good kite from Team PEPS, making sure not to have anyone fall, but surely that's a rough time there for Zoro. No, survives after peeking up onto the high ground. The rest of this team just making sure to back up round the corner, and after the early throws, it's quieted down a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a quiet one so far. Willis chunked down so much off the back of a rail shot. Still caught up out there. Half HP. Can't really get cared too much as Rav is so weak as well. Has to back into the little room. Zoro just 1v1ing Willis. Has to back away as you fall down to 50 HP. Back into the safe hands of your supports. But it's not looking too bad for VanirQuick. Team PEPS are falling very, very weak, but not finding any picks to their advantage so far.
Not a single kill found by either side so far, but the clock keeps on rolling for VanirQuick, and they gain the space slowly but surely. Well, it's very, very healthy now after an ill-advised TP earlier. Tries to do the same thing again, tries to aggress onto Kale, but the accretion goes wide. Kitsune Rush is invested from both sides as well, and now here comes the Gorodivic Flux. Can you stay alive, Apan? No! That's going to be the first pick of this side swap as Zoro, nice shot onto Rav, is going to be nothing but a consolation. Team kill bell rings out for Team PEPS, and they hold their ground.
Yeah, 2 minutes to take it just that little bit further. Kale has that orbital beam. Zoro has the overclock as well. Central Apan's close to that annihilation. Elias coming up 80% onto that spree, so it's not too bad for VanirQuick into the next few fights. Team PEPS, on the other hand, still have 3 ults. Gravitic Flux and Kit Rush expended in the last one, so out with those for a little bit. But VanirQuick, not in a bad position, to be fair.
They go early here, trying to get that override protocol in, but just have to back up around the corners or being chunked. And that means that Apan doesn't get the care needed. At least they force out the investment of the ultimates from the other side, as only FD God stands with a tick next to his name, but down on the other side as well to less than a minute, and Kale's just deciding to chunk that and take the switch over to the Lucio.
Yeah, that was just so rough. Too much damage onto that bridge. It left Central Apan without any sort of support, and it's easy pickings for Team PEPS. And VanirQuick just couldn't do anything there. It was, as I said, just way too much damage waiting for them across that choke point. It looked terrible, but Annihilation available and that spree, it could spell disaster for Team PEPS if this is found to have any value. There's so much damage from that spree goes through. Everyone is so weak. Kale gets 2, Zoro for a 3rd. Willis shuts down Elias in the end of it all, but Central Apan is just pressuring Willis. The Gravitic Flux comes out. Not sure whether that's really the play you need, but Kale, good for 4, I think, that fight.
Absolutely. The switch over to Lucio proves perfect timing.
Beautiful.
It's
actually
able
beautiful
to clean up as well, and you can see in the face of the orbital ray, they were still just able to do so much damage off the back of that spree that it was easy pickings for Kale coming through on the Lucio, making sure to clean up, and that's exactly what you want from your Lucio in that situation. Now the cart rolling on through second. They've taken a lot of space here as well, just backing up, making sure that it's not an overplay and an overforce here into the hands of the other team. TP is going to be invested, and the accretion lands. Eventually, Zoro is going to fall down, but Rav traded out by Elias. That is a bigger pick, though, onto Tomex. But Will is falling. Now you've got no tank to be able to hold the objective down. Surely you decide to keep going here, VanirQuick. That you do. Just holding the space for now, waiting for the rest of the teams to come back through. As only relying on the Lucio heals is going to be a little bit difficult, but now with Zoro back, and it seems Tomex as well, they should be able to fight forwards once more. Zerion does have the Kitsune rush into this fight and immediately does pop that. Now with the Mauga there as well, it's going to be so difficult for this Ramatra to deal with this, and they force them all the way back. All that space that was taken completely nullified as we tick down to about 1.5 minutes left on the clock. VanirQuick are going to have to rebuild.
Yeah, it was not much you can do there. It is just kite it, get out, live in the face of a Mauga rushing you down on with a obviously kit rush. So back up, regroup. You've got that beat available now. That's all you've really got though. The Spree and OC are still too far away to really be anything to talk about just yet. But if the back of a lot of damage of Elias can actually build that Spree up a lot. So much damage though. Suzu has to go out to care, but Team Peps looking a lot stronger in this.
Sound Barrier is going to nullify the initial throws of Zodiel's overclock and eventually does go down through it. They still have the symbol to try and back away, but Apan's down low. They trade places there, the tanks, and Willis falls. And Zoro comes in with a huge overclock. Finding 3 takes the team fight, and that should be this next objective captured. Zodiel is going to be the only one with a chance of a touch here, surely. The TP is going to come through and maybe Willis can get on with the overrun, but that's going to be the overrun invested early, and now you're just trying to do everything you can to hold this objective down. Kitsune Rush invested. There's the cage fight though, and the cage fight goes perfectly for Willis. Apan just chunked down too low initially, and it's going to be a lonely ride back to spawn for Elias.
Yeah, 15 seconds. It has to just be pushed into overtime now. I don't think there's really much of a regroup there. It has to be a touch to push it into OT, and a potential staggers. It's not looking the best. It's a really unfortunate touch to come out for T-Peps. And it looks a bit scary. Is there a potential touch? There is a touch. It will be pushed into OT from Elias. And it has to be one out here. Otherwise, they'll go down another map VanirQuick.
They've managed to get into a better situation here, and now here comes the cage fight, but it's immediately nullified. Goes down as soon as it was casted almost. Now the Kitsune Rush is invested as well on the other side, and Zodiel's found the first kill. Elias is able to take him down, but losing Central Apan should be the dagger to their hearts. There's a lot of players low if you can take him down, Elias, but it's going to be too tough of a task. Team Peps showing why they have fought for so long with an unbeaten record, and they're able to come back on their own map pick and make sure that they can stake their claim. They want to be the ones that are immediately through to that grand final and make sure they have a chance to go back in early to the next stage of OWCS.
Yeah, I mean, the back of that play from Zoro there, absolutely stunning, by the way. Incredible overclock. And really thought that was it. That would push it to, get a couple extra minutes onto the board, push it into a hotel. But unfortunately, the touch came out from Team Peps, the TP, the Mauga charge, and the Tracer dashes. It's just impossible to not get that touch for Team Peps. And, really, really, really sad. I thought just for a moment there that it was going to be it. But as I said, the touch came out. And it was a great showing, though. It was really, really great. It was, I was really on the edge of my seat the entire time. I really can't deny that. I was on the edge of my seat.
Absolutely. Team Peps still can't rest on their laurels, but they're able to come back through and take Circuit Royale into their hands, which leaves only push and flashpoint on the table for VanirQuick. It's going to be New Junk City. Something you can definitely play Mauga into, and it seems like the Mauga compositions have favored Willis. I'd say you want the Sigma as much as possible, but the thing is, going into that map 5 feels maybe you can run the Mauga on both of those maps as well, but you can definitely run the Sigma there, and maybe they just wanted their choice of Flashpoint, and it doesn't matter quite as much what push map it goes to if they're able to turn this around, make sure that they can secure that Flashpoint and get onto that crucial map 5.
Yeah, I mean, pushing it to a map 5 is, of course, if they don't, they lose the series. However, they push it to that map 5, they are really in for a chance to actually take the entire series from Team Peps, nevertheless, just a map. But New Junk City, of course, you said it's, favorable for a Mauga pick, and Willis has been had the upper hand in each of the Mauga mirrors that we have seen. And it does get a little bit nerve-wracking, sorry. It gets a bit nerve-wracking into this, 4th map. But, look at the score lines of these maps. It's been quite favorable, not quite favorable for VanirQuick, but it's been very, very close on the back of it all. And I think that they're in for a real chance to actually take this map and then push it to that 5th map and then take it all in the end.
They do still have the Malgaban in the back pocket as
Yeah,
well. I don't think he's been banned over the course of this series, so you'll be able to invest that if you want to. And of course, if you don't invest it now, it could be Protect banned going into that final map if you do make it that far. So it feels like you've got to go all in here, knowing exactly what you want to do in terms of those bans. We should see them in just a second. I'm really looking forward to seeing if it is going to be the Samoan that pops up here for VanirQuick, or whether it's going to be something else. They go for the Lucio ban. That surprises me.
Yeah.
Especially with how well Kale played towards the end of Circuit Royale on the Lucio. I feel like that's a strange one there, and it's going to be Tracer banned on the other side from Team PEPS, knowing how well Elias has done so far in this series. The Lucio ban, I could have been given a few. I don't think I would have made it to Lucio anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think that would have been, one of the picks that I would have said either. Yeah, I mean, Kale was, superb on the Lucio on Circuit Royale, so it's a bit of a strange one to come out from the back pocket of EQ, but we just have to trust that their judgment is correct on this, and that will give them the upper hand in Yuzhong City. As you said, I would have preferred to see the Malga ban come out. This is the do or die situation. Of course, it can be Protect banned in the next one, so it's just best to expend it there if you really don't feel like you can match that the Malgamera, but it's a substitution for Team PEPS.
Bring Crocs in, something that at least I haven't seen for quite a while. It's going to be that Reinhardt composition, maybe expecting that Mitsuki composition, and that's been the real counter that a lot of teams have found. As soon as Twisted Minds find it, it feels like that's been what other teams have gone to try and stop this composition that's been taking over, but it's not going to be there on the other side. They're going to find something that isn't what they expect, at least in terms of what I think would happen. And it feels like the mind games are there, with Apan playing on that Ramatra. Should be a good matchup into the Reinhardt, at least theoretically, but as we know, Overwatch not played on paper, played in the server, and initially Zodial getting a couple of shots in onto the squishies of VanirQuick, trying to progress forwards, and Zerion goes down low, going to be healed back up by FD God on that Juno. Now Crocs is a little bit isolated on the point here, able to just hold up the shield, but it's a lot of damage onto that Reinhardt, and the shield's going down low now, 46 HP. The investment of the charge just to regroup, but that leaves the squishy underbelly of this Team PEPS team in play. They've toyed with their food perfectly here, VanirQuick, and here comes that first capture for them. Really well deserved.
Kale is superb, can I just say. 2 more picks found on the Wuyang. It doesn't matter what support they play. They end up finding all the picks that they need. Central Apan getting that first pick onto FD God obviously limits a lot of the healing that comes out from Team PEPS. And then the second pick was onto Zerion. No supports. That's it. Team PEPS, you've entirely lost that fight. And, as we see, they absolutely have 35% now for VanirQuick. It's a great start onto the new map.
Crocs immediately going over to the Orisa. Doesn't feel like it's the best that you could do into this composition, but maybe it's the hero pool of your Reinhardt player that you're expecting to do well on this map, not quite being there. Zerion forced to TP early, and Zora's taken down Zodial. Kale traded out 1-for-1. Zerion with a good trade there, but Rav down low now, trying to use that motorbike to as much as possible, and it's a perfect cleanup from Zerion as well. Really good play from the Hiriko early on in this fight. Rav's going to be invested back on though, and here comes that Kitsune rush that's been built up by Tomex. Still about 6% off for Zerion. It doesn't matter though. Crocs has found Zoro, and they're still fighting into this. Looks like the Orisa was the play after all, as 2 kills from Crocs is going to force the flip. It is overtime, 99%, so anything back the way of VanirQuick should be them taking this, as 3 ults come online soon for them as well, but the important Kitsune rush is going to be there for Zerion off the bat.
Yeah, I do expect to see that title battle last be used here, probably in in with that overclock. A dive into that with the OC could be absolutely massive for VanirQuick. All, of course, as you said, they only need that one flip into their favor to just capture this first point. And Zoro looking for a potential angle to use this OC. So is Wu Yang. I expect this Tidal Blast to be expended here. Not just yet, though.
Overclock invested immediately. They're being patient with this Tidal Blast as Zoro able to force them into the low ground, but Elias has gone down. And now in the 5v4, VanirQuick just looking to recover as much as possible. Annihilation used takes down FD God in the 4v4 now. Terror Surge onto the point, but that Tidal Blast is perfect timing. Not going to get too much in terms of stuns, but Rav and Zodiel now with both DPS ults going to try and take down the other side. Zoro has done enough to stabilize for the moment, and it should be Elias coming back in here with the spree. Does a lot of damage, but can't find the kills. Crocs, if Crocs dies here, should be good. Zoro's found 2. It's all going to be onto Elias, but it's a perfect spear from Crocs. Can anyone come back here in time? I don't think it's going to be possible. And after a long, thought-out fight on first, Kale actually does touch. Gets speared, but is going to survive. Now Apan on the ball just to try and get some timings through. Doesn't look the most comfortable on that hero, and yeah, it is going to be a first objective captured for Team PEPS. Looking a lot better after that switch to the Orisa. And Crocs, I mean, hold on a second, we'll get
yeah, it's, I mean, the switch up onto the Orisa, you know, questioned it at first, but it does seem a lot more comfortable for Team PEPS. It was a bit, it felt like a bit messy from VanirQuick. It just didn't seem like all the best. It was caught out in a lot of positions, a lot of just dived onto and then caught out, invested on, and eventually fell, and it just was a bit rough. But as the flashpoint is about to unlock, or the second flashpoint is about to unlock, it's still kind of messy. Rav very weak, so is Zerion, and Elias is there for the first pick.
Now with that D.Va, they'll be able to invest onto the squishy backline of Team PEPS a lot more. The Kitsune Rush is not enough to save Apan though, and Tomic's falling immediately. Crocs has been so good with these spears and the follow-up off the back of them as well. As another one comes onto Kale. And Elias, while you've been able to get one, yes, you're not going to survive for too much longer.
Yeah, definitely not questioning the Crocs Orisa now. I mean, it's been beautiful. The spears have been incredible. The follow-ups have been just as good. And Crocs is having a bit of a fun time in chat. Can't stop typing.
It's interesting from a player that's been on the bench for the rest of the map to come in and start flaming the other team immediately. But there we go. Zoro with this overclock coming on board finally ticks over. Kitsune Rush used on the other side, but a couple of chunks found early, and FD God has fallen. So once again, numbers advantage here for VanirQuick. They need to convert it soon, and they absolutely have. Taking down Zerion, taking down Crocs, and now maybe the singing's gotten a little bit more quiet.
Yeah, I hope so. As that was a great shot out. I mean, almost a flawless fight there, I think it was. Although there's still a great advantage, 87% for Team PEPS. However, I mean, VanirQuick should be able to hold this. I mean, we saw Team PEPS get to do the exact same thing where they capture the point off the back of the large deficit and hold it for the entire time. So hopefully VanirQuick can do the exact same. They have the Tidal Blast available, and they have the self-destruct too.
Yeah, and this spree coming online soon as well. Zodiel's going to be a big threat in this fight with that overclock. And you can see FD God switching over to the cat. Chooses not to uplift Zodiel. Goes onto the point with Crocs instead. Here comes that Tidal Blast investment with the spree. And Kale immediately finds one. A second is taken down eventually. And Apan in the backline finds 2. Meanwhile, the captures come through on the other side. It's going to be up to 90% for Team PEPS, but Crocs surely can't survive for long enough here. It's only going to be FD God on the cat trying to keep him alive. Crocs now has built up to that Terror Surge, has to survive to be able to use it though. Chucked down so low, can't get the spear into the ground. They've forced overtime here, the rest of the team has come back, but it should be easy pickings as one goes down though. Zodiel takes down Zoro. Elias immediately switches back onto Rav, and This checkpoint is going to be so hard to get back onto. FD God finally falls as well. The cat on cat matchup goes down well, and Crocs now onto the Doomfist in the last gasp. The investment of the Kitsune Rush feels like it's a big one here from Tomex. They're not going to have that into the first fight for the next objective, but at the end of the day, they make sure that they capture this one. So, I mean, it's tied up 1-1, and they've proven that they absolutely can play here, VanirQuick.
Yeah, 100%. It looked a lot better onto that second point than it did the first. Of course, it did feel a little bit of an messing up my words so much. It's gone. I can't figure it out. Overinvestment. Thank you very much. I felt like a bit of an overinvestment, but it did absolutely secure the point. And going into the next one, you are down that Kit Rush, such a pivotal ult for any fight. But I think VanirQuick do kind of stand a chance without it.
Relocation of the Jungle Queen early on in the fight. Use of the Suzu already been done. Rav finds Zoro early on. They look to get aggressive here, VanirQuick, but they're absolutely punished for it. Zodiel does go down in the meantime, but there shouldn't be any more trades here if it's taken down officially by Team Peps. And yep, immediately they get their hands on this third checkpoint first.
Yeah, I appreciate the aggression. I do enjoy seeing a bit more, aggro plays there. But of course, you said it was punished and caught out. Allows Team Peps to just easy pickings on the rest of them. 2 ults in the hands of VQ, close to that OC, close to that spree as well. So it's not the worst of the worst. But Team Peps, I do appreciate that they have the OC and that Kit Rush.
They've pulled Zodiel off the map. They've immediately taken it down with that hands of Kale. And now everything's fallen into the other side. Yes, FD God did get the trade, but it's beautiful shots from Zoro to clean it out. And he still has 3 ults in the back pocket for the next fight.
If I'm honest, I didn't even notice that the catnap was there or available for VQ. And it found value, immense value onto it. Exodial caught out of the fight immediately, and then the rest of Team Peps just fell so quick after that. Great shots from Zoro to clean it up and secure that point. And it's a lot closer of a deficit than it was on the second point.
VanirQuick scouting out this aggression now from Crocs. Shout in, trying to get into this backline. But Zoro shuts down Rav immediately on this fight. Zodiel trying to trade it out onto Apan, but Apan's just about able to get away with the mech intact. Kitsune Rush invested as well, and they're not going to have anything to do with that. An immediate shutdown from Zoro was perfect, and now here comes a spree as well. Elias gets one, but immediately traded out by Zodiel. Bit of a handshake there, and now in the 4v4, Rav has that spree coming in to invest onto the other side. With nothing else here for VQ except to self-destruct, it's going to be difficult for them to get back onto the objective. But that makes it so much easier if Therion falls, and Rav's not able to secure a kill with the spree either. The investment of the Queen, the rampage, while it is going to catch a few players low, it's not going to find everything. And now, VanirQuick going up 2-1, trying to force map 5 in this crucial matchup versus Team Peps. And they switch back over to the Reinhardt comp.
What a series it's been so far, and a potential 5th map just on the horizon as Crocs switches back to that Reinhardt, the one that didn't really work out at the start. But the Orisa, they found the answer to it. VQ found the answer to how to play into the Orisa, and Crocs favors going back to that Reinhardt. Is that going to be the actual play? Who knows? I don't think it will be.
It's looking very London Spitfire plus a stray cat that was found on the streets of London earlier on King's Row, but
cat distribution
early catnap doesn't really go too well. Tomex down low after using that Kitsune Rush, but Rav's the first one to fall. Here comes the bomb. Crocs falls even before it. Kale doing the cleanup job once again. Mop and Bucket is out for the cat, doing masterful work once again. Elias takes over, finds the 3, and VanirQuick in charge of this all-important 4th objective once again. Zoro's going to get back in quickly with that cat grab, and everything is looking a-okay at the moment.
It's looking so great. Team Peps, a little bit of a switch up there. FD got onto that Mizuki. Hovered the Juno for a little bit, didn't prefer it though, so swapped onto that Mizuki, and now it's a very, typical backline that we used to see a little bit ago, that Carry and Mizuki. So they're really looking for that heavy backline.
They've kited this overclock. Wow, and Zoro's able to trade out immediately Exodia, as soon as one overclock ends, the other one starts on a second kill onto Rav as well. Even the Kitsune Rush can't save him at the moment. Now you've got Elias in the backline. KO has gone down to Zerion, and maybe they've gotten a bit too overconfident as Elias falls as well. They're still trying to fight in here. Apan close to losing the mech, but they do survive for now. Croc's trying to get in onto the objective. They still have most of the team back here for Team Peps as the team does return from spawn, but really just a way to get in there as 99% goes through for VanirQuick. All they need is one more fight in their way, and they have a lot of ults coming up onto the board.
Yeah, this is looking really great for VQ. I mean, Zoro has been on a heater. So much damage found. Elias getting pressure onto his backline. Rav is so weak. Spree's available now. Zoro finding one in the meantime. Rav goes down to the Spree. So does Zerion. And Zodiel trades back, though. Elias out of the fight, but so is Crocs. VQ absolutely have just won this map.
Zodiel's trying to single-handedly bring it back into
my god!
But T-Mex finds the crucial kunai, and it is going to be map 5. No more singing for Crocs. And VanirQuick do force it. It's all to play for now for this first spot into that playoff qualifier. And now, the momentum back into the hands of VanirQuick. It is going to be a map pick for the side of Team Pets, but it's going to be between only New Queen Street and Runasapi left on the table. Maybe the pride did come before the fall a little bit too much for Crocs there as VanirQuick level up the series.
Yeah, went down that first point. Crocs a little bit too, prideful in the messages that we did see, and it just went the way of VQ the entire way after. Three capture points on that flashpoint to go all the way into this 5th map. And I mean, what an incredible series it's been. Zoro has been spectacular with these shots, shutting down Exodial at every opportunity that has been found. And so is Elias as well. I mean, a 3K on numerous occasions, the Spree in the end to secure that flashpoint. And I mean, it's just been spectacular.
Elias and Kale have done so well just making sure that those low health scenarios for Team Peps are converted into final blows. There's been so many times where I've watched other teams and they get players down so low, but they don't secure the kill, and then that player is the one that ends up dominating that team fight. And VanirQuick's just not allowing that at the moment. They're making sure that those players are taken out of the fights early, and now with Team Peps picking here, I feel like they're going to be stunned again because they didn't even work out what was going to be played on the other side. They threw Crocs in for the Reinhardt to try and counter that Sig Mitsuki composition that just wasn't played by VanirQuick. Apan looked comfortable as soon as that Diva was picked, and Team Peps do decide to run it over to Runasapi. The question now is, what are the bans going to be? And the question is, are Team Peps going to try and ban something like a Diva here to hold on to the Malga that feels like it's been their best composition over the course of this series?
Yeah, I think that is the ideal thing. Ban out a tank that potentially is good for VQ and not so good for yourself to get that, Malga Protect, the one that has been so pivotal in each of the map wins that we did see earlier. I mean, Team Peps, from a team that hasn't lost a singular map the entire way through to then go down 2 maps in a single series, it's substantial. It's a confidence breaker as well, and a big confidence boost for VQ to beat a team that has been unbeaten twice. I mean, I'm really starting to favor VQ here. I always was from the start. I really did believe. But, I mean, to then actually do it, put your words where your mouth are, and then to take 2 maps against, this OWCS partner team, it's superb.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into this final matchup on Runasapi, it really is anyone's to play for. New Junk City did look a little bit rough towards the midpoint, I'd say, of that second objective when Crocs was really high up there. But like I said, pride came before the fall, and VanirQuick were able to snuff out exactly what Team Peps wanted to do. That third objective looked a lot more comfortable, and the clutch plays are there. The clutch gene has been activated. That's exactly what you need on a 5th and final map. A lot of momentum based in Runasapi here as well, due to the nature of push. Although, as people have been pointing out more recently, it is a little bit healthier to get back in, and overtime really can affect how a push goes with those spawns. But
Yeah.
as we're waiting for the hero bans, the big question is it's the Shion ban. So you go to try and take down Elias, and now VanirQuick, the obvious choice is taken. Malga is off the board, and that really feels like it frees up that composition that we've been saying they might play, but they haven't this entire time. The Sigma's still on the table, and we know that Apan looks very, very comfortable on that. And we know that if they bait in Crocs once again, they look comfortable switching over to the D.Va to try and dismantle what Crocs can go to. It feels like that tank matchup between the two of them, the hero pools, just don't work out in the favor of Team PEPS. So I would expect Willis to come back in for this map, but we'll see how it goes. Team PEPS really on the ropes here, as I assume they wouldn't have expected to be going into this. It is Willis back in, but now you got to find something that works for you, and initially it looks like they're hovering that D.Va.
Yeah, as you said, expecting Willis to come back in here, and we see exactly that. Willis is back into the roster, hovering that D.Va, as just mentioned. But I mean, banning out Elias and that Shion, I don't know how you know much value that is. We've seen Elias be great on the Mei, been great on the Tracer as well. So Elias can flex onto other things. Of course, the Shion has been great the entire time that we have seen Elias be on it, but you've got so much to deal with on the side of VQ. I think that the Shion ban wasn't really the play.
Zora's gonna match Vrab's Bastion, and I mean, I said London Spitfire on the last map for the other side, but this is really looking like it. Expect you've got a Sigma over that Reinhardt. Initial early space taken by VanirQuick as well, and they've done well to make sure there's not too much space that Team PEPS can play in so far. Zodiel's going to be looking for some shots with that cast, but not really coming through so far. Accretion barely misses onto Willis. That felt like it was going to be converted into a mech kill if it was obtained, but Team PEPS just backing off at the moment. Here comes the kill though, as Elias just falls foul to that Cat Bastion. Maybe not checking the awareness of it quite as much. They all do fall down, and the first point, or the first map fight, goes in the hands of Team PEPS.
Yeah, confident. And again, that's the same thing we saw back in Oasis. It's just a lot of damage to deal with. Rav and that Cat, it's a tough thing to deal with, and it's so much damage that you got to deal with from basically all around. The speed that the Cat can bring that Bastion around, it is difficult to deal with, but you know, VQ absolutely definitely have a chance. As Zoro does find the opposing Bastion. That's a superb pick to have going into these next few fights. Is out of mech Willis, and eventually Baby D.Va's found. It's superb.
The Bees have taken down the D.Va, and now they're looking into the sights of Therion as well, who finds a clutch headshot with the Gunai, actually. Really good job, and FP God's able to get a trade as well, so maybe not quite as much gain taken from VanirQuick as they would like off the back of that fight win, but they've got a couple of ults coming back. That said, on the other side, though, Team PEPS bank is looking very full.
Very healthy. They've almost got that catnap. Willis switching off onto that hazard. Completely negates any sort of ult percentage they did have. Trying to push that point a little bit further, but doesn't want to risk any sort of overextension and potentially dying out immediately into the start of the fight. So, due respect from Zoro, but so much in the hands of Team PEPS.
Skynoon's here, finds 3. The Suzu not quite timed well enough by Tomex, and immediately that's all said and done for the fight. Elias is able to get away on the Tracer, but they're not going to care about that for now. This TS1 bot is going to keep pushing quite away, and maybe that's even forward spawn off the back of it for Team PEPS.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's a crazy angle to find 3 with a Deadeye. You don't typically see that. And an aerial orbital strike. I have to respect it.
I mean, the changes to the ultimate really don't help quite as much, as Elias is found out trying to get back to the rest of the team. Zodiel firing off a couple of clean shots from the Peacemaker, as Zerion and Willis clean the rest of the team up. Quick team kill once again in that Kitsune Rush fight, as VanirQuick switched back over to that composition that they started off on.
Yeah, it is looking very rough, Team PEPS. I mean, of course, they are an exceptional team, but they do not want to go down to the hands of EQ, and we clearly see that they are locking in now. Zodiel has hit some spectacular shots as the doesn't get land, as the Griffin Flips doesn't land onto Willis. It's rough for VQ. It's a very, very difficult map for them.
Yeah, Zoro's gone down early as well. Of course, you can flip things a lot on push. I've seen a monumental game of push between, I believe it was VanirQuick and Here for Views previously, but it's going to take a big task to come back here as that cart pushes up to over 100 meters now. And Zodial's got another Sky Noon once again. They're going to try and counter it out as much as possible, and they are able to deal with it. Now comes the sound barrier, and they're going to try and push off the back of that. Rav's got that aerial bombardment there once again, but not going to invest it with Willis falling down. Rest of the team goes, and that feels like it's a well-needed confidence boost for VanirQuick. They need to kill FD Code quickly, though, and somehow the cat's still alive. There we go. Central Apan shuts it down, but that feels like it was definitely needed to get some sort of fight and some sort of momentum back for VQ.
Yeah, super necessary, and it was a finicky target in the end to, stall out for just a little bit longer, but eventually the pick was found. FD God went down for it, but, 112 meters from Team Peps. People typically say the last 2 minutes of push are all that matters, and in the case of VanirQuick, that's all you really hope for, is that these last 2 minutes you're going to find spectacular picks.
Sunirash gets zoned immediately by that aerial bombardment, but on the other side, they invest a lot as well, as the mech's already fallen, and once again, it feels like that sheer amount of damage that played trouble on Oasis is coming back to haunt VQ at the moment. Rav looks so strong on this Bastion.
Yeah, I mean, it feels definitely, as you said, it feels like the strongest pick. Rav on the Bastion on Oasis and the Bastion here, it's been so much damage, and VQ just can't find an answer to deal with the sheer amount of brutality that they're facing. And again, it just feels so rough. Team Peps haven't had any real sort of pressure put onto them. One fight loss is all that they've really faced here on Runisapi, and that's it. It just feels like it's in Team Peps' hands the entire way through.
Kel switched over to the cat, but I mean, Apan already has to invest the self-destruct to try and stay alive here. It is going to be able to do so, but look at where the cart is. It's still back past the first objective, and now once again Zodial's able to invest the Sky Noon. Kale's been able to trade it out onto Rav, so a massive amount of damage is going to go fall by the wayside for Team Peps, but Willis taking down Elias, and without the mech of Central Apan once again, this objective is just going to be pushed even further by Team Peps.
Yeah, I feel like there's not much more I can say other than it is just sheer brutality from Team Peps. VanirQuick just can't find a way into it all. And it's another Sky Noon that has gone the way of Team Peps finding a pick onto Zoro. Couldn't be DM'd by Central Apan, and it's just difficult trying to find potentially the same thing, that Sky Noon, but shut out immediately. The Jagged Wall is the one to finish Zoro off.
Yeah, they're going to try and find the kill onto Willis, and that's exactly what they do, but immediately, once again, the Bastion for Bastion trade is just too much, and FD Gods found Tomix. That means that the Central Apan mech goes down, and once again, it's just too much. The cart is going to push the full way. They've just about survived it, but no one else is going to survive this Kitsune rush. And after a really good series, unfortunately, it all falls down in the end, but granted, VanirQuick taking 2 maps off of that is really, really strong. You got a lot of hopes for what's coming tomorrow in terms of their lower bracket final to try and make sure they can make it into that playoff tournament and back into a rematch with this team that they've taken so close here today.
Yeah, I mean, from what was, a potentially destructive series, Team Peps, you were kind of going into this expecting that really clean 3-0, but for VanirQuick to take 2 maps off a perfect team, it is a great confidence booster. They go into that lower bracket for tomorrow to potentially face Team Peps in that rematch grand finals. When is the finals? The 9th, tomorrow. It is tomorrow. It is all played tomorrow, isn't it? Yes, indeed. So, go into that lower finals early tomorrow and then potentially rematch Team Peps again later that night. I think, I really favor VanirQuick's chances to, show up again in that grand finals, especially considering they've just taken 2 maps off of Team Peps in a BO7 against Team Peps. Will it potentially, be that attrition battle that VanirQuick can win out on? Who knows? We will just have to see when it rolls around tomorrow, but a spectacular showing from VanirQuick regardless of the loss.
It's going to be Wasp Esports that's going to be coming through the lower bracket to play VanirQuick in that lower bracket final. They've had a really good run through the lower bracket, actually, being knocked down by Gas T3 initially. and then getting a forfeit against YAB, but taking down Good Guys, who've really had a downturn of form going into these final few games and into the playoffs themselves. Wasp Esports taking that 3-0 earlier today, and then in the matchup that's just happened in the lower bracket semi-finals, Gas T3 do not win the rematch, and Wasp Esports are gonna be the ones that are challenging VQ in that lower bracket final tomorrow. And it is going to be rough having to play 2 games tomorrow as opposed to the one that Team PEPS are going to have. And obviously there's a lot of pressure in that game as well. You don't want to be burnt out after what's been such an incredible series going on today. You don't want to be burnt out for tomorrow and lose a game that you should be favored for. As I'm just going to check what happened in the previous matchup between those 2 teams. Give me just a second. But Xander, I'll allow you to give all of your comments on how this game has gone.
I mean, what can we say? I mean, Zoro on that Sojourn has been, superb. Every single member of the team, Tomex, has been such a standout player ever since I first started casting for VQ back in Season 8. Every single time I've watched this team play, Tomex has been superb on that Kiriko. We've seen Central Apan, go big on that Sigma. Such a great pick out of them. And of course, Elias and Zoro on the DPS have been, great. Impeccable aim, impeccable, Sojourn out of Zoro, and then Kale as well. Great follow-ups on the Lucio that we saw, all throughout today. A lot of low HP targets set up by Elias, then Kale just coming in for the follow-up to clean it up on that Lucio. It's been, superb. And I mean, it's such a great team to put pressure onto Team PEPS like this. It does show to everybody else in EMEA Masters that Team PEPS are a team that can be beaten. And for VanirQuick to be the ones to do it is, I feel like that is absolutely the team that deserves to show that Team PEPS is a beatable team.
Definitely. And going into this matchup once again later tomorrow, that 3-0 was the scoreline in the previous matchup between Wasp and Team PEPS on July the 10th. So it's been a little bit of time since they played each other, and hopefully they'll be able to have the download on Wasp as well. I believe we should be trying to bring you as much as possible from the games tomorrow. But for now, we're going to give a shout out to the people that have made this stream possible. Thank you so much to our producers, Derwin and Luau. Obviously, you've had me and Xander on the cast, our observer, Nexo Games, and a special thanks to Respawn.io, who have provided our package that has brought our lovely faces to you. And I just want to give a quick shout out to VanirQuick for giving me this lovely jersey that I've been adorned with for the entire time. And it brought us a lot of confidence, right? We come in against Team PEPS, we go 3-2. Hopefully, we'll be wearing it tomorrow, whether I'm on the cast or not. And I mean, we'll see how it goes tomorrow. Hopefully, it will be another big matchup between these 2 teams, but make sure to follow along from the start of tomorrow, as there is a game 3 hours before this one started today. So whatever time in your time zone that this started today, that matchup against Wasp Esports is going to be 3 hours previous of that. So note that down in your calendars. Make sure you set a reminder for that all-important lower bracket final. And of course, if VanirQuick make it through to the final to face off against Team PEPS, we will, of course, be there with you every step of the way. But for now, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good day tomorrow in the follow-up to these games, and make sure you're doing all right out there. Goodbye.